Hi, everybody. It's Michael Levitas with Alpha Insider, and I have here with me Olga Zakinova, an associate real estate broker at Douglas Elliman. Olga, welcome back to our show.
Thank you, Michael.
It's very important to think about whether or not you have to or should renovate your home before you sell it. And we're going to have a separate video on renovate or not to renovate. But today I want to focus on real life examples. You had recently few success stories where, based on your advice, clients put in some money into a house and it sold, and sold for more value, bigger price than even what they expected. So let's get into that. Can you give us examples of some recent success stories you had where clients followed your advice on renovations?
Yes, Michael, there is so many different stories when it comes to renovations, because my belief is very simple. You have only one chance and one opportunity to make an impression online.
That's true.
When you're putting your apartment or house up for sale, please understand, floor plans do not change, but pictures do. When you present your home with a picture that's from 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and especially if you use it daily, it pretty much becomes a subject of a very painful conversation during showings. Oh my God, do I have to renovate this kitchen?
Right.
Oh my God, how much will it cost me? And so just to avoid that, I'm always advising my clients that if there is an opportunity for you to fix up your kitchen, please do it way before you put your property on the market. What happens, usually people reach out to me to get the proper colors, to get the proper ideas, what kind of cabinets we should put in, what kind of counters we should put in, what kind of appliances we should put in. Just because we know the latest trends, we know the latest colors, we know exactly what goes and gets the market and buyers excited. In the end of the day, also keep in mind, most of the bathrooms that are not renovated, that also becomes a huge subject of conversation. In a residential home, you could just pretty much do anything you would like and want. But when it comes to co-ops and condos, there is permits need to be filed.
Of course.
Okay. And this is the part that buyers are trying to avoid. Imagine someone bought an apartment today. Most of the time, people buying an apartment because they need to move in there. And if they bought an apartment that needs so much work, it's now becomes at least 3 to 4 months delay on their lifetime. Why? Because they need to really get all the permits, get all the approvals. As a matter of fact, I'm dealing with one right now. It's a referral from another client of mine where my seller lives about an hour away. When we first came into the apartment, it smelled like cigarettes. The carpets are old. The moldings, the doors, everything needs to be ripped out. I mean, the bathroom is just absolutely a pure disaster. And so I bring in 2 to 3 to 4 different opinions. We get the scope of work in writing. We present it to our clients and pretty much submit all the documents to the management for approval on all their licenses and making sure that they could begin the process. Now, throughout the process,
I love how you do all that. I love how you take away that headache from the clients where you are dealing with contractors and soliciting bids. That's amazing.
It's amazing because I know who I trust and I know what will be the end result. At the end of the day, remember, it's one goal in common, to get you more money for your property. Right. And at the end of the day, to make it sweet, seamlessly, and easy.
Sure.
All right. When we renovate our properties, we pretty much make it so much easier for the seller. Because remember what I said in the beginning, you have one impression to make. Once you take the pictures of a renovated bathroom, you can't even compare the amount of activity then within first 24 hours. The eyeballs will generate on Google, on Zillow, on Trulia searches. So by far, I could tell you, Michael, that if you would ask my personal opinion, sell it as is and just give it away $50,000 to $100,000 below market value, and or renovate, I would say take the time as the homeowner, consult with us, see if we have any buyers to buy it as is, because in many cases we do have investors that buy it as is. But in many cases, we give advice to sell it after you renovate, because you could definitely, in many cases, double the profit.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point that when a buyer is looking at a property that's renovated, they know they're going to avoid that extra expense, aggravation of construction, permits, but also you said a very important thing. the construction takes time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your buyer, where are they going to live? They may have to sustain at the same time 2 apartments, live in
Yeah.
one while renovate the other.
Yes.
They may have to sell their apartment to afford to buy this other apartment or house.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
when it's already renovated, right, they can move in after closing right away, so they avoid that expense of carrying 2 apartments. You know, I'm thinking now we should do a separate video
On staging.
soon on staging, on your advice on, like you said, the trends in the market, colors, what appliances, should you go for brand name, expensive appliances, or should you stick with something more basic? All these are very practical day-to-day questions that
Yes.
sellers have, and
Absolutely.
we're going to answer them for free right here on Alpha Insider with Olga Zakinova. Olga, but let's come back, let's backtrack. I want to hear from you an interesting case where you actually gave advice to a seller to renovate, and I want to hear how much more they made on a house following your advice.
Well, Michael, I have so many different stories daily, right? Because we go in and out of people's homes pretty much every single day. I have a case right now where the homeowner is been in his house for about, I would say, 30 years, interviewed and still interviewing about, I would say, more than a dozen agents, just because he's hoping and praying that one of them will say not to do renovations or not to do certain things. Look, this is what I believe in. Everything that I put my name to, it has to be pristine. Okay?
Right.
We will talk about videos and we will talk about floor plans and we will talk about other things, because I think when you present your property to the marketplace, it is very important how it is presented. Now, when you're going backwards to conversation of what was my recommendation to one given homeowner to renovate the property, I've seen cases where people put in, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000 in renovations, and they renovated their kitchen and bathroom, and it ended up with being worse. Why? Because buyers now in a position where they just can't finance. Understand one thing. You can now finance this house for $1 million, for example, versus when it was given to you for 800, but you need to put in close to $200,000 to $300,000 in renovations as a buyer. Now, in the end of the day, most of those transactions and most of those clients end up not only getting their money back fully, but they also make money down the road because those buyers appreciate the fact that you renovated their, their potential home, okay? And now they don't have to deal with the headache. All they have to do, maybe paint the walls into the colors that they like and want, and bring their suitcase, their toothbrush, change the lock, and they're ready to go.
Perfect.
Okay? So it's definitely a huge advice that if you have the funds available, I know that some people don't have the funds available.
Of course.
And we could talk about it, more at a later time with my investor clients, those that are actually in a position to buy cash, because in many cases, those properties are not even mortgageable. So those properties in many cases are not even able to be financed.
It's more a tear down or gut renovation.
Correct. I have one right now that you can't even get a mortgage because it's broken sheetrocks, it's falling doors, it's kitchen that's not functional. It's
because the bank has to go in there, make an appraisal, and they see the house in total disarray, not livable, so they're not going to give a mortgage.
Absolutely. The bank has to approve it. And in many cases, in this type of cases, when I go into my client's home and they think that they could get financing on such properties, which in many cases, sometimes it's listed with another broker at a much higher prices, I then FaceTime my mortgage broker and I look through all the imperfections of the house and I'm asking them, do you think this is mortgageable? And if the answer is no, then it's a different product that it's only open to investors, as is cash deals, and there is no other way around it.
Okay, Olga, perfect. You're giving us a lot of food for thought. This was very general. And at some point, I want to break it down because this is a very, very important topic, a big decision to make, to renovate or not, and how. Most importantly, how, like we said before, more economical, method or much or more luxurious. We're going to hit all those topics one by one in separate videos, because this is what we do here. We educate the public on how to buy and sell real estate for top dollar. Sell top dollar, but buy below the cost.
Well, also, Michael, before we wrap up this topic right now, also understand that I look at a very big picture on location, location, location.
Right.
And every location, every apartment, every property has different location. And we need to know our buyer.
Right.
Who is our client who is coming in to buy this property? So, you know, it is very, very important to understand what these people are looking for and what they will appreciate once the job
Good
is
point.
completed.
And that's that falls under your purview
Correct.
as the real estate broker, because you know the market, you
Correct.
know that location,
Yes.
and you know what's attractive to a potential buyer
Buyers.
in the area, because
Correct.
you work with both, so you know what to expect.
Absolutely.
Olga, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. We're going to see you soon, very shortly. And everybody, if you have any questions, don't be shy. You can either comment below this videos. We also have Olga's phone number on the bottom of the screen and the website. You can always reach out to Olga. She's very approachable with any specific questions on your situation, on the house you're trying to sell, on the apartment you're trying to buy. Olga and her team are there for you. We thank you, Olga. We thank everybody for tuning in. Until next time, have a great day. Take care, everybody.